Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we want to talk about the maybe #1 army in Legend League and maybe even in the game right now. And no, I'm not talking about Queen Charge Hybrid. I'm not talking about, I don't know, like Zablalo. I'm talking about Yeti Smash. And I will explain to you guys why exactly I think it's the strongest army to push with and what exactly you guys have to watch out for to become masters in this strategy. So this is kind of the goal for today's video. If you would like to see all of those attacks live performed, well, check out my live stream. Even though they're in German, I know that there are a lot of English guys checking the stream out because I see you guys in the chat. It's always awesome to see you guys there. And today I will do the same as yesterday, which means I will do attacks with all of my 3 accounts like Itsu, Itso, and Itzy. And with Itzy, we're going to use the same army as yesterday, like this one. And we're going to once again try to push as high as possible with Itsu and Itso with Queen Charge Hybrid. That's the plan. So if you guys would like to check that out, make sure to hop over to Twitch at 8 PM CEST. And now let's take a look at this army composition because it's actually pretty crazy. First off, Yeti Blim means you never have to be scared of a 1-star. And then in addition to that, two baby dragons. That was kind of a confusion point for me when I kind of copied the army over, because I used this, or like copied the army from the #1 guy and he used this army composition. I was kind of confused. Why would you bring 2 baby dragons? And the reason is you normally always have time issues. One of the baby dragon can be used for speeding things up, for example, the Warden Walk. The second baby dragon can be used for the back end, for example, to make things quicker if there's only like 1 or 2 defenses left alive and if one of your troops is already tanking. So the baby dragon is really helpful in those scenarios. So let's take a look at this attack, and this is actually one of an older boom base. So let's see if you can somehow beat this. And first off, since this is like some sort of a guide for you guys, the first thing on how I start normally off the attack is typically with the Warden Walk. The reason why Warden Walk is better is because you don't need that many resources. And like I said, this army is designed to not get too many time fails, normally. And then in addition to that, why exactly would you bring witches? Like, why would you bring witches in a Yeti Smash? The reason for that is, since you normally do a pretty long Warden Walk, the goal for those witches is to speed things up. You want to not have a time fail. And with sending the king and the witches on the outside, they can walk for a really long time. And this means all of the trash on the outside is clear. Like, you don't need any troops anymore over there. So it's super helpful. Now we're getting into the base. I don't want to use the Royal Champion just yet. And since I just double checked, since I don't have any other siege machines with me, like I think siege barracks would have been better on this one, but still I have to send in the blimp. So I kind of use the blimp as a sort of Coco-loon, if you want to call it like this. And I know there's the sweeper and everything, so I freeze that. I freeze the town hall as well. We're using the poison on the enemy queen, enemy clan castle and everything. And just keep raging. This is kind of the nice thing about this army. You have so many rages, use them. In addition to that, since most of the time, and this is what I feel like is ending up on this attack kind of often, power-wise, your Yetis at some point, most of the time, are going to die. Because you have only 4 Yetis with you. So you need to be really careful with that. But the nice thing about this is that most of the time, the queen and a couple of healers are surviving. What this does is basically that at some point, the Yeti Smash is turned into a queen charge, because the queen is still alive with the healers, and that's kind of saving the attack most of the time. So for example, we have still the witches at the bottom side, we have the queen, keep going with this kind of queen charge in the core. And this is kind of crazy. So we now still have the queen ability, going to use that pretty soon to make sure that our troops are like staying alive at the bottom side and our queen is staying alive. But we have only 30 seconds left. So this was my first attack with this army. And obviously, since this is a guide, I want to explain to you guys exactly what went wrong as well. So the first thing which I did wrong is I used the baby dragon. Now imagine having 1 baby dragon left, and this is what I was talking about in the beginning. Those cleanup baby dragons can do work, especially if this back-end archtower is tanked. So imagine having a baby dragon on the back end. This attack would have been 100% a triple. So a small error on my part, and this is why this was a time fill attack. But now, with this additional experience, let's try to take a look at the next base and the next attack. The next tip I can give you guys is do not be afraid of going for town hall charges with your warden. You have so many rages that if you have like 1 or 2 rages left after your warden walk, it's still most of the time fine because, well, you have a lot of power still left. And if you can take out the town hall, you even have the warden ability left because, well, you do not need to save it for the town hall explosion, so that's even better. So on this attack, I went completely crazy and I was thinking like, okay, let's do a really crazy warden walk and go for the town hall. The reason is there are not too many storages in front of the town hall. At the flank, yes, but not in front of the town hall. That's kind of the key. Which means we need to go through all of the buildings in front, but they were mainly collectors, like gold mines, elixir collectors, and things like that. So those are kind of quickly to dealt with, like that's the nice thing. But now the warden is getting slowly but surely into the danger zone, and it's taking quite a bit. Even though we have like 2 minutes and 10 seconds still left, we had to use quite a few rages. The next thing is, as long as you're kind of in the 1 minute mark with your warden charge, you're normally pretty okay with this attack strategy because you have the witches for the outside, which is speeding things up a lot. The next thing is obviously all of my attacks were done with non-max witches, so that would have been a bit easier with max witches obviously. The next thing is I'm doing the warden walk, my Yeti smash is getting into the base, first wall breaker, obviously super wall breakers are helping a ton. What you should do if you do not have super wall breakers, try to use the wall breakers in combination with the rage and then with the warden ability. This is getting you really far into the base and it's kind of helping you a lot. Now obviously we're getting into the danger zone. I do not need to use the Yeti blimp, so instead I switch to the slammer, and one more time, it's so freaking important to use your correct siege machine. So having the slammer over here is helping a ton. You guys see it, the slammer is dealing tons of damage, going for all of the buildings, tanking in front of the royal champion, and now it's once again the Yeti smash turned into a queen charge. Like I said, this is pretty often the same story, and it's kind of funny to be honest. So I don't know, like so far the strategy worked pretty nice for me, and now once again we have 1 minute left roundabout and need to somehow finish off this base. So now I need to like use the troops in a nice way, hopefully to somehow get around the last couple of things, like last couple of buildings. My queen is finally jumping onto the outside again, going to the tornado, which is kind of unlucky. But still, we're looking pretty good because there's only one archer tower left. On the left side, my witch died, but the skeleton survived, which is helping a ton. And then the ward obviously surviving is helping as well. So overall, even though this is a close triple, this still is a triple. And guys, I have to say, this is with non-max witches. And I still have to say, I'm not the most experienced player with this strategy. So just overall, this strategy is crazy powerful. And even if you think like, oh god damn it, all of my troops are gone, you still have a lot of power left for the back end. Now let's take a look at the next base. And this is like pretty classic legend base, I would call it. Like having the core town hall, 4 ground expos, and then 3 multi-infernal towers. This is a classic setup which is used by a lot of top players at the moment. So what do we go for? The next kind of tip is, which I can give for you guys, is do not be afraid of outside heroes when you're planning your warden walk. So what I did over here, I used everything kind of nice and early, which basically means for me that I used the rage in the beginnings to be quicker in the rotation with the warden and healers and everything. And then I just used the headhunter. The headhunter is a really nice addition. And the reason why this army, and now I'm getting kind of to my last point, the reason why this army is so successful in Legend League is because it's a huge flex army. And what this means is you can basically use most of those troops in different ways. And this makes the strategy at the same time kind of complicated if you want to bring it onto another level. For example, Zap Lalo, it's kind of tricky. Like most of the time you're relying on Zap value, which means if the base is built against that, you have not that good of a shot at tripling it. Queen Charge Hybrid on the other side is having like a huge potential of working against a lot of different bases, because most of those things, most of your army composition you can use for different purposes. And Yeti Smash is getting this onto a different level. With having so many troops you can use on a different style, it's really hard to defend that because every single attack can be different and you can always get really creative with that. For example, the first thing which I told you guys is the baby dragons. On this one, I didn't really need the baby dragons because at some point I got a brain and I was a little bit smarter on how to use my troops. So this time I did not need the baby dragon. I was doing the funnel with my king, with my royal champion, and with my witches. And this time I had 2 baby dragons for the back end. But you guys will see in a second why exactly this is key. Now we're pushing in the core. Everything so far is looking great. And now once again we have the freezes left, which are once again situational spells. So we can choose them, or we can choose to use them early, we can choose to wait for them. So it's always up to us on how to use them. Now we're getting into the back end, and now the first baby dragon, and now we're starting kind of the cleanup around the troops in the core which are tanking. This is kind of the idea of this army, which is pretty crazy successful. Now the freeze for the back end to make sure that we're getting the Inferno Tower and the enemy king out of the way. And now more wizards, the wall breaker just to do some damage and like get our queen or like the troops which are alive in the core away out of there. And then the next thing is the air defense is gone, which means from this on there's only the 1 archer tower on the far left side left, which can actually target air troops. Now we have 2 baby dragons and both are working on the back end. So this is pretty crazy, and yeah, I don't know. I would definitely use this army a little bit more, try to train a little bit better. We saw it in many tournaments already. This army is crazy if you want to pick up an army which is a different way of like complicated compared to like, for example, Zeb Lalo. Definitely pick this up. It's a lot of fun as well because you can get really creative with your Warden Walks. And well, hopefully you guys like this video. I will see you guys back tomorrow. Until then, see ya and bye bye.